Okay, so we're back, and now I'm going to show you how to apply finishing hinges. As you can see, I have a whole pile prepped so that you don't have to watch me prepping hinges throughout the videos. Alright, so we're going to apply finishing hinges to all the edges of the boxes that we made. Okay, now I'm going to show you in this video how I finish this open-ended box, but basically what I show you on this side, you're just going to do on both sides of the closed boxes for the house project. Okay, so the first thing I did was removed any of the painter's tape that you may have on your box, and then I'm going to put a finishing hinge, and if I have scraps, I'll use those scraps. I'm going to put a finishing hinge on each of the four corners on the outside. So you can attach hinges on the inside if you like, but I don't normally do that. I just run a bead of glue around all the edges, and then I paint or ink or whatever when I decorate. You don't see the corners or the edges there very much, and I just find that if the more layers of paper that you add to your projects, just the bulkier they get. So on the insides I don't worry about it, but I like the finished look on the outside. Alright, so starting with one corner, you're going to take a hinge and basically line it up with the edge so that it's flush. Alright, it's flush, and then you're just going to wrap it around the corner and burnish it down. And burnish really well. And then trim. And you're going to trim flush to the chipboard. And you'll see this also gives it some stability to the structure of the box. Alright, so I'm going to do all four corners, and this is where I use, oh, I think I said already, I'll use scraps. And I'm not going to worry if I have a scrap that's slightly shorter than this width. I'm not going to worry too much about it, as long as, you know, it's just not a sliver in the middle, because when you attach hinges on these two sides, it covers up anyway. And I will show you that with the next one. Basically, I'm trying to get just this middle portion here covered nicely. So even a small hinge like this, I'm going to go ahead and just center that top to bottom like that. Okay? And then last one. You see my precise measuring that I do? Oh, I got a little piece stuck on there. Alright, and attach. Alright, so all four corners are covered. Make sure there's no overhang. If there is, just trim it off. Burnish. If you're in a high humidity state, burnishing is very important, because these hinges can start to lift, and if you notice that with your projects, then you need to up your burnishing skills. Alright, so then I'm going to take a full-size hinge and my pencil, and I'm going to mark from end to end one side. Alright, I'm going to trim. You can use a trimmer if you want, but after all this time, I'm pretty good at hand cutting. If there's any overhang of your adhesive, just kind of fold that over. And then I normally place my hinge down on my work surface. And then I attach it up to the score line, flush with the edge. Oh, I didn't do a very good job there. You can see I'm a little over there and a little under there, but oh well. Burnish that down, and then you're going to burnish along the top edge of the chipboard before you start to fold it inside. And what I do is I just pinch in the middle to get a little bit of a stick, and then I use my bone folder to burnish down. From the inside, I go from the middle to the end, and then I burnish the hinge up into the corner, like that. And then I'll repeat on the other side. All right, and then I'll run my bone folder along the top again. All right, so then I'm going to go to the opposite side and do the same thing, and then I'm going to do the two sides. So that I'm going to trim since it was a little over. And burnish. All right, so then I'm going to measure again. Trim. Remove the tape. And then I'm going to, let's see if I can get this better view for you. I'm going to line the edge of my box up along the edge of the, along the score line of the hinge, and make sure I'm flush end to end. All right, so you're going to go up to the score line, don't go over the score line, and then you're going to burnish on top, and this is the end that has the double thickness of chipboard, so it's going to look a little thicker than this side, and this is when you assemble your house, this is the top part. And I'm going to pinch in the middle and just start it off, and then use my bone folder to work it into the corners. Okay, and then I also punch the corners a little bit with my bone folder. Alright, and so you can see that you're covering up these little hinges that we attached, and there's the short one. It's going to be covered completely, so all you see is this little portion right here. Okay, so then I'm going to grab another hinge, measure, and if you want to cut a little longer, you're better off to go longer, because then you can just trim. Did you see that? Longer. Okay, so this one I just purposely cut just a little bit longer, and then that will actually help with that side that was really short. Lay your hinge down, and then I'm going to center this side to side and up against the score line. All right, so we got a little bit of overhang on each end. Burnish, and I'm going to fold this over. And then I'm going to pinch and finish with my bone folder. And I'm going to work that right into the corner, and it's going to go up and around the corner, and I'm okay with that. A little bit of a tear there, so it was trying to stick. If you do get a little bit of a tear, you just add a little bit of adhesive, and that will merge those fibers together, and no one will ever know. Alright, so I got a little overhang here. I'm going to snip that off. And around the corner. And punch. And burnish. Overhang. So, as I'm thinking about it, there's a better way to do that, and I'll show you that with the next piece when you're using a hinge that is slightly larger. All right, last side, go to top, burnish that down some more. Last side, we're gonna cut a little longer, and I'll show you a different way of attaching this, or what extra step you can take. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to lay down my hinge and center this side to side up against the score line. Alright, burnish that down, and then I'm going to take this step and burnish it, but instead, because I don't want all this extra, I'm going to lift that a little bit and just trim it. Alright, and trim. Trim that off, trim that off. And now when I pinch and burnish, you'll see it's a lot closer to the corner. Alright, not so much overhang as there is on these sides. I don't like that. I might fix that later when I get off video. Alright, and then these pieces you can just trim off flush, and that'll give you a nice outside corner. Yeah, I like that better. And trim. Okay, now we'll do the bottom part the same. I'm going to start with the long sides. So I'm going to, let's do that. We can go way over on these. So just trim a little bit. Same sort of technique. I'm going to lay my hinge down. I'm going to center the bottom of the box side to side up against the score line. Don't want to go over your score line if you can. If you do, it's okay. Paper still bends. Burnish. And then I'm going to start scrubbing along the edge so that you don't get any air pockets in there. And then I'm just going to use my thumb and continue to press and start from this side and work your way in towards the box. And then once that's down, burnish and then trim. And then again, you can use your scissors. I like these little scissors, they work perfectly. And then burnish and burnish. All right, then we're going to go to the opposite side. Cut a hinge. Lay it down. Center. Press that on there. Burnish a little bit. And if you notice any of your other hinges aren't, if there's little gaps, I don't know if you can see that, but just go ahead and burnish as you see them. And then I'm going to start scrubbing and then press so that there's no air pockets. And then trim. Nice and sharp, and then burnish. That's a nice corner. All right, two more, and we're done. And these pieces that I'm snipping off, they'll be perfect for the corners of the other boxes that we're going to add finishing hinges to. I'll lay my hinge down and then line this up, centered side to side, up to the score line, and then we'll press that down. Alright, finish, and then start scrubbing. And trim. And look at that. There's a little bit of overhang, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to burnish that down, and the cardstock kind of disappears into itself. Alright, so you can see that now.